Hey everybody, what's going on? So today in this video, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be breaking down what has been working over this past year. So mainly I'm just going to focus on the one bait that has caught the most fish for me this year. And as you guys know, if you followed my channel or if you follow me on Facebook, you guys will also know that I post a lot of pictures on there. I actually posted a picture today of a fish. I didn't record it because I just didn't really want to. But I was able to catch a nice, probably 2 pound bass on the 8-inch slammer worm. And today, that's what I'm going to be talking about. So, I'm sure some of you guys are probably sick of hearing the word 8-inch slammer worm because I say it all the time. Almost in every video I make, I say it. And the reason why is because they just catch fish. I've been catching fish on them literally since I made them. The same day that I made the mold and got the mold finished, I went out and I caught fish with it. Literally the exact same day. They just catch fish. I don't know. I don't know why they're such a fish catching bait. I mean, I have some assumptions, but I don't know exactly why. The fish just tend to bite it over everything else. So today, kind of a quick breakdown of what happened today. We went and we threw some baits. I threw square bills. I threw a chatterbait for a little bit. I threw a swim bait for a little bit. I also threw out a jig. Just couldn't get anything. So we ended up catching some small bluegill, using live bluegill and dead bluegill. Couldn't get much of anything on those. We didn't hook up with any fish. We had a few nibbles, but not really any bites, that hooked up. So I decided, you know what, if I'm going to catch something, at this point I haven't caught anything. My uncle and my cousin had already caught fish, and they were catching bluegill, and no one had caught a bass yet. So I was like, okay, I'm going to pick up this slammer worm, and I know it catches fish. I've caught fish at this lake many times. I've caught a couple 4-pounders there with the slammer worm. I said, you know what, I'm going to catch fish with this. I'm just going to go out there, I'm going to throw it, I'm going to keep throwing it and not stop until either I get a bite on my bluegill or I catch something on it. So that's what I did. And probably maybe, 10 casts in or something like that, I finally ended up getting a bass to bite. It's about a 2-pounder. I caught it on this exact setup right here. Shakespeare Excursion Rod, KastKing Speed Demon Reel. Show you the line. I can't honestly remember. I think, if I remember right, it's 12-pound. A 12-pound monofilament line. And this here is the rig. A peg right there. Make sure the weight can't go nowhere. 1/2 ounce bullet weight, 4-aught EWG Gamakatsu, or not Gamakatsu, it's a Eagle Claw. Eagle Claw 4-aught hook and an 8-inch slammer worm in root beer color. So, I'm just going to show you guys today some of the colors that I've been using, and I'm going to tell you guys why I think that they've been catching the fish this year. So the main colors that I've been using, I have all 4 of them, and I have an extra color that I've been kind of messing with. Not really caught anything with it. I haven't really used it a whole lot. But it's the electric blue color. I gave my cousin some of these 8-inch slammer worms in the electric blue. He has had some bites, no hookups and no catches yet, but I am looking forward to getting a fish on these. I think it's a cool color. It's something the fish definitely don't see very often. But the main 4 colors that I've been catching fish on, the main one that I'll show you is this one right here, the plain old green pumpkin. This is green pumpkin with red, blue, and silver flake. The flake is just what I always have. I don't normally run just plain colors unless it is a natural color like this one right here, which is the root beer. The root beer color is basically, in my opinion, one of the more natural colors that I have, that I make. It's a very natural, kind of a brownish color, and I really like it. That's what I caught the fish on today. I showed you guys that one. This one here is fresh. I just made this like 5 seconds ago, and I just pulled it out of the mold to show you guys. No flake in these. I don't ever put flake in the real natural colored ones like this one here, just because I think it gives the bait a little bit different action, or a little bit different color, because if you look at 99.9% of baits that you go out to a store and look at, they all have some sort of a glitter, whether it's black glitter, silver, red, blue, purple, green. It doesn't matter. They all have some sort of a glitter, and I think that baits that don't have glitter can sometimes get more bites, especially on clear water places or places that get a lot of pressure. You know, if you go out to a lake where there's a lot of people throwing stick worms and finesse worms and all this stuff that has a lot of glitter and bright colors, a lot of small baits, a lot of people downsize to like 4-inch Senkos, you know, trick worms, finesse worms, all that kind of stuff. I normally will go in there with an 8-inch worm, and most of the time I'll catch fish. Something I've noticed that what I'll do is if I'm going to a new place, especially during this time of the year, from about May all the way till about probably, well, ice, honestly. I'll throw an 8-inch worm probably until the water's covered with ice. Even, you know, in some places, whether you can or can't, you know, if I could, I would probably throw it even if there's a thin layer of ice in some areas, just because it is a very fish attracting bait. And you can move it very slowly and get those bites because they don't have to move very fast to get it. And a lot of people, when you think of bass fishing, you know, generic baits like Senkos, finesse worms, stick worms, all kinds of stuff like that is what a lot of people throw. You don't normally see people throwing 8-inch worms. Like my local Walmart, the only big worms that they have are the ribbon tail, the Zoom, what are they called, Old Monsters. But you don't see worms like these here, these really thick, wide, beefy looking baits. They're almost like a Magnum finesse worm, just like a giant finesse worm. And the fish don't see that very often. That's why I like to go and throw baits like this. You know, you can go out on a ledge where somebody is throwing a crankbait and they're just getting down there in them deep areas and they're not catching fish. You can go behind them with a heavy Texas rig or a shaky head with those big worms, and you can just clean up after them. You can just catch fish after fish. And that's what I like about these worms. And another thing is, the first fish you catch could be 10 inches. Next fish you catch could be 10 pounds. That's what I really like about these. They target some of the bigger fish, but little fish will still bite them. So anyway, normally I have just been Texas rigging it, but if I do rig it another way, I'll rig it like this right here. 3/8 ounce shaky head. This color here is called chicken liver. This color here is a good color for places like Kentucky Lake. If you guys ever have used the red bug color, this color is kind of like a red bug or something like that. It looks sort of similar in the water. It's a very nice bait. I have caught some fish on this color. I've actually caught some fish on this rig. If you look, you can see where the hook has popped out, setting the hook and stuff like that. I've caught fish on this color. I've caught fish on this exact worm. And the other color, the fourth color that I've been just whacking them on around here, especially if there's been some heavy rains and it was muddy water or whatever, is the normal black. Now this one here is black, red, and blue flake. Red, blue, and silver flake, excuse me. I like the silver flake in my black baits like this because if you look at a lot of companies' baits, it's always either black and blue or black and red. You don't normally see silver flake in the black worms, and I like that because it gives me a little bit of a different look than a lot of other people are throwing. You know, you see a lot of June bug colors where it's just like a blackish purple with some either purple or green flake or whatever. You don't see a lot of black or green pumpkin or any of those darker color baits with silver flake because a lot of people think that it contradicts what you're doing. But you always want a little bit of a flash when you're using a big worm like this, and especially in muddy water. Some people think that these big worms are only for like clear or verily just a little bit of a stain in the water. A lot of people don't think they're good for muddy water, but I've caught a lot of fish in muddy water. You guys may have seen my old profile picture, not this one that you see now, but the one I had a couple of weeks ago. That fish was caught in visibility maybe 2 to 3 inches of water. And I caught it on a black worm, if I remember correctly. It's been a while. But it was caught on a slammer worm in muddier water. And I've been throwing these things for a while now, ever since I made them. When I first made the mold, like I said, I went out to my pond and it took me like maybe 5 casts and I actually caught a fish. And I was out there talking to my mom and dad, and they don't understand why fish would actually eat a bait like this. And the reason why is because it's an easy meal, especially during the summertime and wintertime. If I ever use a big worm, it's either going to be all through the summer or all through the winter. Now, when it gets into like April, March, I don't really throw it that much. And when it gets into like the super cold stuff where you can't even fish at all, then there's no point in going. But the reason why is fish are lazy during this time of year. There's two ways that a fish is going to be. He's going to be either really active, where you can catch him on a swim bait or a crankbait or whatever, or he's going to be very lazy. And he's just like a person. He's going to be laid up in a certain spot, waiting for something just to walk in front of him so he can grab it. He's not going to want to exert a lot of energy. And all of a sudden, here comes this big bait that's moving a lot of water, and it just comes and hops right in front of his face. There's an easy meal that he doesn't have to chase down. Would you rather eat 3 tater tots or a baked potato? I guess that's how you could say that. There's different ways you can look at it, I guess. But what I like about it is you can catch big fish, you can catch little fish, you can catch all different sizes of fish. But it can target some of the bigger fish. I've caught a bunch of 4-pounders on these baits. The main colors that I've caught the 4-pounders on is either this or the root beer color, the green pumpkin or the root beer. The black and blue is also a good one. The chicken liver is a good one. Some people, like my cousin, he likes the white. He likes white worms in the 8-inch size. They've caught fish on black and white worms, not together, not like black and white, but black worms or a white worm. I personally just like to use these type of worms on the bottom, but they like to fish them weightless, like a fluke. A lot of people can do that. These baits here has a very buoyant plastic to them, so if you wanted to hook them with a, I don't think I have them here with me. No, I don't. But if you wanted to hook them up with a 4-aught hook or something like that and twitch it like a floating worm, that works. I've actually had some bites doing that. I don't do it very often, but if I ever do, I do usually get bites. So I hope you guys like this video. I hope you guys like this breakdown, a video of what I've been doing. If I do, or go back into it a little bit further, I didn't mention where I like to cast. So the place that we've been fishing is very limited area to walk and to cast. So where I've been targeting is anywhere where there's either structure or flat areas. So I know on this one part there is a flat where it is one depth for a little while. Now I've caught some fish on that flat, the 4-pounder that I made a video on. You guys have seen that before. If I can remember, I'll link it in the description. It was a really good video. But I actually caught a 4-pounder on camera from that flat throwing one of these worms. And that's what I was doing. I was targeting that flat because then fish were running up there eating bait. And if I don't target flats or deep water, just plain deep water, I'll go to structure. The fish I caught today was caught in a brush pile. What I did was I casted in between the bank and the brush pile where I knew I was going to bring the worm right into that brush pile, and pretty soon I was hopping that worm up and down. I felt a stick. I brought it over that stick. Pretty soon I lifted back up. I felt him tick, 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 and there was a fish. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want some more videos like this, let me know. If you want some in-depth episodes made as well, let me know down below what kind of baits you want me to do the videos on. So, thank you guys for watching.